What's up, guys? LQ here to talk about the new Little Mermaid, the 2023 live action Little Mermaid. Even though probably you can make the argument a good half of this movie is not live action, but whatever. The live action Little Mermaid. Let's talk about it. Let's get away. Let's get some of the good stuff out of the way first. Halle Bailey does a great job as Ariel. Very strong vocalist, gives a pretty decent performance as far as a portion of this film is kind of silent acting, and she does a good job of emoting, um, you know, showing her emotions through her body language, through her facial expressions. A lot of that is definitely well done. Um, I thought Melissa McCarthy kind of brought it as Ursula. That was one of the things I was most concerned about. Was I don't think she's a good actress at all. I don't think she's funny at all, and I really thought she did a pretty good job with Ursula. Um, the musical numbers were great. The special effects were above average. There was a couple of spots where the special effects looked dated. For a 2023 movie, special effects looking dated isn't a good thing. But for the most part, I would say they were above average. Nowhere near like Avatar quality, but pretty decent. um, but even though there was things about and okay, they do a good job of catching the spirit of the original. They really do. And that's mostly because this is a remake of the original almost beat by beat. But this movie has problems too. And some very significant problems. First of all, the movie's way too long. Way too long. The original movie was 80 some odd minutes. This basically adds an hour. And the hour that it adds nothing to the narrative. Gives Eric some backstory that's completely uninteresting, adds a couple musical numbers that, quite frankly, aren't very good. Um, it just adds fluff where fluff wasn't needed. The original one did such a good job of filling so much story and so much content into 90 minutes. And for whatever reason, in this movie, they felt they couldn't tell that same exact story unless they added an extra hour on. I took my 9-year-old daughter with me, and in the middle of the movie, she got bored. She got bored. She was restless, and she asked me when the movie was over. She was pretty locked in the beginning. She was pretty locked in at the end. But the middle, where a lot of that fluff was added, was really slow. The movie kind of meandered on in the middle part. Why? Moving on to another thing that I didn't like. Why do these live action Disney films keep wanting to bring photorealistic animals that talk into it? I don't get it. I don't get it. Lion King did it, and they were not able to emote at all. And you see the same exact thing in this movie. Flounder, Sebastian, couple of larger than life characters who are completely unable to emote any kind of emotion. They're just basically like Flounder's is basically swimming around saying lines. Sebastian's sitting here walking back and forth just saying lines because there's no emoting, there's no acting going on, and not really any animating going on either. Yeah, it's an animated crab, it's an animated fish, but they're animated to look photorealistic, which means that the amount of emoting that can happen is basically none. And it's just a little off-putting. You got the uncanny valley thing looking at these fish that are talking, and it's an off-putting sensation. I understand why they shrunk Flounder's role as much as they did because it was creepy. And I even feel like they lessen the importance of Sebastian in this to the point where um, his impact was felt less, and I feel like that was because it was just a weird concept to begin with. This is a fantasy land. This is a fantasy tale. Mermaids aren't real, so it's okay to have these animals in this show or in this movie that are not depicted exactly as they look in real life. That would take me out of the concept less than having a photorealistic fish talking. What animals can talk, what animals can't, that's another thing. We just don't know. Ursula's eels don't say anything in this movie. The shark doesn't say anything. By the way, the shark was well rendered. It was a well rendered shark. And my daughter, when during the shark chasing, she even said, "This is intense." Um, what animals can talk and what animals can't? Who knows? Nobody knows. And why? Why? For the love of God, how does Aquafina keep getting work? She is one of the most unfunny comedians I've ever seen in my life. She's not a good actress. She sounds like somebody who's been smoking for 120 years. How is she still getting work? I don't know. Apparently, some people find her funny. I don't know. There was the story going around the internet before this movie came out that this Ariel is going to be different. This Ariel's not going to leave the ocean just for a guy. This Ariel has goals and things she wants to see, things she wants to do, things she wants to accomplish. This Ariel is different. This Ariel is empowered. It's the exact same motivation. I don't know if that was just talking points they felt that they had to throw in there because I don't know. It's the exact same motivation from the original. Remember, the original Ariel wanted to leave the sea and find man's world and go be a part of man's world before she even knew who Eric was. So for the original Ariel, it was bigger than just falling in love. It was a deep desire that she always had. Falling in love was the catalyst. It's the exact same thing in this. There's no difference to the no difference to the female empowerment. So if anybody is deciding I don't want to go see this because I'm tired of this female empowerment story, whatever. First, but second, it's the exact same motivation. You can feel, if you like the original and the original motivation that Ariel had, you can feel comfortable with this one because nothing's changed. It's exactly the same. Her motivations are exactly the same. Who Ariel is as a person is exactly the same. They made the decision to change her skin color, whatever. I could have gone either way on that. The motivations of this character is what I cared about, and they are exactly the same. The show made a lot of, or the movie made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of stuff that I didn't like. They did some stuff that I thought was pretty good. Like I said, the musical number, guys, Part of Your World, when Halle Bailey sang Part of Your World, nailed it. Freaking nailed it. There was some really great stuff in this, and there was some stuff that you're just wondering, why? Why, Disney? You could have made an all-time classic here, and instead we have a mediocre movie. But Disney loves mediocre movies these days. That seems like it's all that they make. So let's just add another one to the mediocre pile of junk that they've been putting out, because this fits in nicely. Some really great stuff in it, and also some stuff that you're like, what is happening? So I would say go see it on a matinee. I think matinee, you're not going to feel burned. I think if you end up paying full price for this, you might end up feeling burned. So that's my take on Little Mermaid. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below.